I don't know. I may have been overzealous hitting that button, but we are ready, and we are. How unprofessional of me! Unprofessional therapy, no degrees, just decades of inexperience. So yeah, so so we went completely off the rails at the end of our last.
In the beginning of this one, because you haven't even said who you are.
We're going to continue. Oh, I'm Michael.
I'm Brad.
Oh, welcome to the show. It's a little crazy.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the chance to talk about this stuff, or yeah, we talk about this stuff being off the cuff or whatever. I'm going down a rabbit hole. I'm sorry. I love, and this is what we are here for, is to talk and share experiences and so on. You had things you wanted to say. I just keep rambling. Stop me.
Ramble. Are you done yet?
I'm not, because I'm going to keep going. So you better just
jump in. What we did is we talked about a belief system. Yes, I interrupted him on purpose, and he knew I would. So I want to talk about, the belief systems like we started last time. It doesn't matter what you believe in. None of us know the real truth. And I want to back up a little bit and talk about something I very rarely, I kind of touched on in the beginning, and then we will get back into why beliefs are beliefs. So why do we have beliefs in the first place? Well, it all is about your personal experiences. And we've talked about this in the past in a video, I don't know, maybe a month ago. You are literally 1 in 8 billion and counting, because you are the only one who has gone through the experiences you've gone through. You are the only one that was in that one particular spot at that time, at all the way through your life. Even if you had a twin, you were offset just enough.
Right.
So these individual experiences, whether, you've seen twins that grow up and they have almost the exact same life, whether they grew up apart or not, which is another conversation. They've had that, and then they, some of them are a lot different, and you could have people who grow up in a religion that run away from the religion. Do we know anybody?
Never heard of it. Never happens.
Never happened. And then you have people who continue on with the religion. What makes them different? Their chemistry in their brain,
sure,
and their life experiences. That's why you get to that. I talked about it a little bit, and I'm going to add to this. In the last video, I talked about a friend of mine, a person I worked with. I felt bad for him because him and his wife had a really rough relationship, and they were in their 20s. They both passed away before they were 30. Terrible. And they met at a young age. Now, on the other side of that, in college, I went to school with 2 people who met in high school. They're married and have 2 kids now that are in college and out of college, and they're still together.
Nice.
Granted, and now they're both from the same area of the U.S. by hundreds of miles away still. So they're really not connected. But anyway, my point is, your experiences are so different. I could not possibly know your experiences. You cannot possibly know mine. My beliefs, in fact, my beliefs might be almost identical to someone else's, but I doubt my exact beliefs are exactly the same as anybody else's.
Okay, fair enough. And I want to say this is kind of sparked or whatever. The conversation initially was with death and what it's like afterwards, or what your belief systems are leading up to the point of death, and how it doesn't necessarily matter. So wow.
We don't know. You hear people that have NDEs, near-death experience. I've seen there's a channel, NDE something that is devoted to people who had near-death experiences.
Right.
So a lot of them wrote a book and started a future-telling because they've seen things that,
Fortune telling.
they
Oh,
talk to
interesting.
beings of other. So I take that with a grain of salt. I do know that NDEs exist. I take the claims. I take the people at a grain of salt. The
Okay.
individual.
So you're open to the possibility there might be something else or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'm
But
open to that.
okay, yeah, because I
I'm hopeful.
definitely sure. Or maybe we just wink out of existence and then it's not going to matter. We talked about this a
Right.
little bit last time because what were you before you were born? A Zen koan, something to think about.
Yeah.
What's fascinating is recently, so I've talked about this before a little bit. I've touched on it or whatever. I'm going to grief share. I'm going to another group that's dealing with death and so on. So in there, um, my wife was given a book about near-death experiences. Um, I'm thinking, I'm slowing down here because I don't want to. My wife and I, we can share whatever, but I don't want to share anything else that would be inappropriate outside
Mhm.
of this.
Mhm.
But
Don't want to cross that
within,
line.
yeah, so within this though, there are those people that deeply want to believe, and then there are those that are more skeptical. So
Yes.
when it comes to the shared near-death experience, it's fascinating that people that are not religious, that are not deep, share these same um, these same
Visions,
experiences, the
experiences. Yeah.
same visions, the same whatever you want to. Yeah, they're
Mhm.
sharing the same experience or a similar experience or their version of that experience.
Mhm.
Um, and to me, that tells me that there's chemical processes that are happening. That maybe they have things to do with it more with the brain breaking down and chemicals being released, and so they create these hallucinations, and the
That,
fact that
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and
It
again,
maybe
this
it's how
is
your brain is dealing with it,
how you
possibly dying.
yes how it's because our brain is an amazing organ.
Mhm.
Everything in the body serves the brain.
Yeah.
um I've watched this. I've seen before, talked about, learned how that when the body shuts down and stuff like there's blood-brain barrier. There's things that like not your body won't allow things to get to the brain. There's a
Mhm.
barrier here where things can't get through, like physically.
Mhm.
Um, Fascinating stuff. I'm not sure. I'm going to lose my own track, but my point was the fact that there may be more scientific reasons for the things that are happening, but there are still we hear of experiences of people coming back knowing things that they shouldn't have. For
Right.
example, a young boy coming back and knowing that he had a sibling that had passed, claiming to have
Right.
met him on the other side.
Right.
Still, there is the fact that it's also very Beetlejuice, where people are going there and they're seeing books and they're seeing lines of people and they're seeing people waiting to get into heaven. And I feel like if it was a heavenly experience, it would be more organized than that. I don't think they would have backups than they would. Now, this
Right.
could just be
Q.
it could just be the language that we have or don't have to express these things too. So there
Now,
could be limitations there.
you just sparked something in my head that I've never really thought of before. And boy, is this going to light some people up. I hate to say this.
Say
What
it.
if
What if?
it's just a dream?
Yeah,
And that dream that's based on what they've heard and what they believe and what,
yeah.
because even a non-religious person, myself, I'm speaking from, first person.
Mhm.
It- it- I I'm not really religious, and but I also give everybody the benefit of the doubt that they could very well be right. And I've heard enough things about near death. I've heard things about, Christians and Catholics and Judaism. And would that influence a dream, for lack of a better word, if my brain thought it was dying or went unconscious
Will
in a
you
certain,
reach for that?
and it's a specific way,
Yeah.
would that trigger? Who knows?
Yeah, good question. Because again, giving the example of the boy knowing about his sibling that he had no reason to know about. Well, do they
Yeah,
know that for sure, or had they talked? Had their
and-
parents talked in hushed tones, and he
right.
overheard
Maybe
it,
maybe
even if it
they.
wasn't conscious?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Maybe the child was in the other room, not really listening, but subconsciously it went in
yeah. So
because the brain is a
fair enough.
wonderful organ.
For those people, before we dispel all the myths or dispel all of those beliefs or whatever, I'm going to go back to the example that I used earlier too, which is, where is consciousness? What is consciousness?
Right.
So I'm not saying that science has all the answers, though people want to believe that science is um, absolute and in many cases disproves religion, but they're also ignoring all the times that science has proved religious beliefs that were already out there, that were important and stuff.
Like
um,
what? I want to hear one.
I'll give you one. I've got this. This might seem like a stretch, but in the Old Testament, people were told not to eat pork. They were not supposed to do that, and there was, religious reasons for not doing it and stuff. Turns out, scientists find out that there's a parasite in pork. That if the stuff is not treated correctly and not done in a proper manner, you would get this parasite and you would die. So like there was a religious belief there was whatever. um Turns out that science proves that there was a reason for that. It wasn't just an arbitrary thing. That's my one example that I have off the
Okay,
top of my head.
we're going to go back to incendiary. So the Bible is your parents saying, "I told you so," right? Because I said so. How
So
many times? How many times in your life as a child did your mom did not explain something because she didn't care to, and she just said, "Because I said so," or your aunt?
okay, okay, but how many times were they right? And how many
Well,
times?
yeah, no,
So yeah,
but see
I
that
mean, I get it. I get that,
I'm
but
drawing a parallel. I'm just drawing a parallel, and
but
I'm being incendiary, and I apologize to those
that's okay.
if it
I love
really
it. I
triggers
love
you.
being challenged. Unlike maybe trolls out there or whatever, I love being challenged and I love
Yeah,
to think about it. And I'm open-minded enough to go,
yeah,
okay, let me think about that for a minute.
yeah, yeah,
One of the things that I brought up last time was the fact that there are Bible scriptures and stuff that were not, um, were so we talked about it being written by man. We talked about it. There are Bible things that are not included in it. But I also find it amazing that this book has survived all this time and not disappeared or not
yeah.
changed much or whatever. That's why I'm suspicious when other religions say that there are other books that are going to be written to be added to it. But I do know that that's actually written into the Bible too, if you go into Revelations. But now we're getting into theology and whatever.
Yeah, we're not
That's
going there.
not the goal of what
This is
we're.
not our conversation today.
This is not our conversation today.
The consciousness. Let's talk about that.
Consciousness.
So the consciousness, I've seen stuff on this. Nobody can figure it out.
Yeah.
Science and here's the cool thing. I mean, I see a lot of Neil deGrasse Tyson videos,
Oh
and
my
you
goodness.
talk about the science, and all he talks about is the scientific method, and it's not all he talks about. And I'm not putting words in his mouth because that's the last thing you want to do with him. He will tell his own words just fine.
Yeah.
He's not someone you want to get into a debate with when you really don't know what you're talking about, because he will tear you up
Okay.
in a very good way, in a very succinct way. He's very good at it. Anyway, he's talked about how even the scientific method really works, da 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 da, but it's not perfect and da da da. But going back to consciousness, the scientific method can't find it, can't do,
Yeah.
can't get a hold of it.
Yeah.
Religion, it's just there. That's not good enough for me.
There's something there that causes it though. And how when we go to sleep, how do we come back as the same person that we were before? How does that consciousness, how does all that not get lost when the
That's
brain
that's all inside your brain. It's all memory. It's like your RAM in your computer, and you got like a bajillion terabytes of RAM in your head, and it just remembers it. And there's actually been tests where they use brain cells for RAM, and it works. Not very
Wow.
well, but it is chemically possible to do it.
Fascinating. I'm
So
gonna. I
that's
have
like
to.
that's very edge. That's very bleeding edge right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I have to interject this about Neil deGrasse Tyson, though.
Okay, go ahead.
He lost a lot of points with me when I saw an example of how he's very scientific method
Yes.
until it potentially doesn't serve him. We'll have to talk about this off the air
Yeah,
because
well,
I
I
don't
think
want
we can
to.
talk. That's a different topic because I really haven't seen that. I've only
Yeah,
seen.
yeah. I will give you the very
Yeah.
specifics of it
Okay.
later or whatever. It's something
Okay.
that I don't want to go into here,
Okay.
just because it's way too
But,
inflammatory to talk about.
well, it's not only that; it's off topic.
It's off topic,
We
exactly.
go
All
off
right,
topic
fair
enough with other things.
enough. We certainly do. We certainly do.
Tangent time. Oh, we need to create a little logo. Tangent time.
Yes, yes, we do, and just spirals off into space. So I want to go back to where we sort of started this. Um, and what do you think or what do you believe? What do you believe beyond this?
You mean when we pass away?
Sure.
I don't know. I want to be happy and think that it's, however you interpret your God is what it is. The way I interpret it is the universe is all connected. That's how I feel, and that when you pass away, you get back into that, and that's where you originated, was in there, and then it you come and go as whatever mechanic, that whatever process that is, you come and go. That's rebirth. I don't know though. I mean, that's what the reason I'm having trouble explaining is because I really don't know.
It's an impossible question that I just stumped you with or
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh
So,
yeah.
uh, so
You want to see me squirm.
and I don't have an answer for you either. I don't want to pin anything down any more than you are willing to. But
Well, here,
I
and
do
I guess
believe.
here's let me add this. If someone out there is certain they absolutely know what happens, you're probably wrong. And notice I said probably.
Probably right, sure.
There might be one
Margin
person
for.
on the planet. There might be one person on the planet or two that actually does know, but they can't prove it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's about faith and it's about whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I think that if we're looking at this stuff, we're always making new discoveries. We're always finding out more. So many times we've um, is this another tangent if I go off and start talking about string theory? I mean, maybe, but the
Well,
fact
here's
is,
the thing about this topic is we could literally go off on a tangent on anything.
we literally could, and it's all
Right.
connected somehow.
Yeah. String
It's
theory.
spooky particle, or what is it? What is it? Einstein called it, or whatever. Is it
Oh,
entanglement, or whatever? Just the fact that
something
the
spooky at a distance, whatever.
yeah, the easiest way that it's been pointed out to me, or that I've learned recently, was the fact that we think about all of these things being all these atoms, all these things that make up the universe as being points and dots and so on,
Mhm.
but they aren't necessarily that. They might just be strings vibrating at a frequency. So, I mean, it leaves a lot of possibility for a lot of discoveries yet to come, and a lot. I still have a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that energy never dies, right? Or the fact recently that, like, the electron, like, there's only one electron or whatever. But anyhow, we need
Yeah.
to bring this back to more practical topics.
Let's dial it back.
Yeah.
No, one thing. I don't know why cryptids keep coming back into my head. Shared experiences. That's why you're talking about near-death shared experiences, and then I watched a video about shared experiences of alien abductions, and
Mhm.
that's not part of this conversation, but that's just why that's why I had the cryptids in my head. That's a conversation. We got to do a conspiracy theory / alien abduction video
Yeah,
just
see,
for
you're
fun.
you're
Just for
bringing
fun.
me so close to that because I want to say now the shared experience of that of them being taken into a bright light, and this also could be near death experience.
Yeah.
If you're laying on a table and you're looking into the surgical lights that are over your head, and there might be a reason why the Greys have big
Yeah.
eyes and no mouth
Yeah.
and stuff because they're the doctors leaning over you with their masks up
Hmm.
and so on. So,
I have
anyway.
one. I have one shared detail amongst pretty much every single individual, and this is guessing that if it's not every single, it's a 70 to 80% of them
Mhm,
person who has had either an abduction story or a story of seeing or being around
mhm.
aliens or cryptids or whatever you want to call them, is that every one of them had a very strong sulfur smell. And in the video I watched the other day, he really put it all together. And well, not put it all. He added a couple things. Number one, what if talking about cryptids, we haven't found the uh, species that can live on sulfur. I mean, we found them. They found bugs and spiders and cockroaches that grew up only knowing sulfur,
Mhm.
and that's so. Who's to say a human style creature didn't do that? And the reason they smell like sulfur is because that's the air that they breathe.
Interesting.
So it's an I mean, again, interesting. Is it true?
Uh,
Sounds a little
Fascinating.
sounds a little interesting. And we're just gonna leave it at that.
Oh,
It sounds interesting.
okay, we'll leave it at that because
Yeah,
otherwise I'm going down yet another road.
but you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Shared
yeah,
experience. It's a
yeah,
shared experience. Is
yeah.
really what that was a thing about. And I'm like watching. I'm like, huh, I'm getting loud. My wife is sleeping. I can't get too loud.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
So
Uh,
yeah. So what happens when you die? What's your belief or your thought?
I don't like you. I don't have one solid belief.
What do you hope?
I I don't know. I don't know because I know what I was taught as a child, and I
Mhm,
don't believe that. I mean, it's very what I was taught was very different from what most religions are taught about going to heaven and and coming going to heaven and living in the with the angels or whatever. Like if you if you really read the Bible and know how angels were described biblically, they are horrific.
maybe
And
you don't wanna live with them.
yeah, and so um if you're going to the Middle Ages or if you're going to the little cherubs and the Renaissance and whatever and stuff, it's
Mhm.
cute,
That's a little different.
but that's very different. So what I've been kicking around recently, and I mentioned this last time, was the idea of uh, God being a fourth dimensional being,
Mhm,
being outside. That would put him outside of space and time, and that's why everything um, being seen from the fourth dimension, being seen from outside of a 3D space, you would have a very different concept of everything that was there and what was happening.
mhm,
I think because there is consciousness, because there is an indefinable thing out there, um, I'm thinking, I guess I want to think that we would just become pure consciousness. That whatever part of us that gives us our identity now would go on in some other form. Um, I very much like who I am and where I am, though. So
mhm.
I would think that I would want to hold on to that, but maybe I would be beyond that. That is something else
I think
too.
that I think you would be beyond it, in my opinion.
Sure,
And
you
you
would
kind
have.
of you just brought a theory to my head. And this is a theory I don't know if anybody else has. What if, again, what if uh, there is a consciousness that's all across the entire universe, and think of it as we're little drops from space or whatever, and you are currently just in this little. You're in your little thing. We're all still connected.
Yeah,
But there's something in your head, in your brain, that blocks the connection. And when you pass away,
that's removed. That's yeah,
and I
interesting.
think there might be a name for that theory, but
Mm.
that's the way you just talked about consciousness and everything else. I'm like, well, maybe that's really what it is. Because how many times are you, like, with your wife, you think the same thing? And now, granted, it's because you're similar and you're married, and you know each other.
Often,
Yeah,
very often.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Same with mine.
I
Like,
think about general things too, though. Other
mhm,
things where how many times has the phone rang, especially before a caller ID, where
right.
you've known who was on the other you for no, it's
Yeah,
like, oh, this is going to be my mom calling me, or this is going to
yeah.
be whoever. Um,
Michael's calling me again.
yeah, exactly. How do you know that without knowing that? I've had, and these are all anecdotal, they're all
Mhm.
personal, but I've been walking past a roulette table, had the urge to put money on green, which is
Mhm.
the zero, the double zero, especially
Yeah,
over
0.
here in the US, it's a double
The one
zero.
that's harder to hit,
Yeah, it's
making
one of the
money.
hardest one to hit. Um, and I had the urge to put money on it, do it, and won. And then had the money to put on double zero again and hit
Wow.
again. People at the table were like, "Oh, what the heck?" I walked away after that, but
Yeah.
it was there. It was something. It was me. I want to say catching a vibration, catching something that made
Yeah.
me, So I've got
Well,
those are going to shape my experience. We're back to this again.
yeah.
This is going to very much shape what I believe about
Yeah.
everything else. Then also, it may be magical thinking, and that is a technical term. So
Well,
we are not professionals, but there is something called magical thinking or whatever, and maybe that's what it is. But that's been my
a gut
experience.
feeling
Yeah,
is another way to put it.
yeah.
What's your gut tell? I have learned to listen to what my gut says. My gut.
So we're going all over the place, but I can't help it. My idea of a sixth sense
Mhm.
is all five senses just working together and you not knowing how. And so it gets described as this. When I have feelings or premonitions or whatever, not that they happen often,
Right.
but I do learn to trust that gut feeling. I jumped on an airplane and went 2,000, 2,500 miles across just on a whim or whatever, but I felt like it would be
Mhm.
okay. And it was.
Mhm.
Um, guys, then I want to say, well, we're very easy to also find the good things and discount the bad things that happen.
Mhm.
But whatever, my guts
Well, I've got
served
a
me
bad
well.
one for you. I had a gut feeling one day in August of 2009 that my mom had just passed away,
Oh, geez, and you
and then
weren't.
the phone rang.
Oh, oh, geez.
So it works both ways.
Yes, yes, it does. Yeah, it can be good, it can be bad. And I just,
That was the most devastating day of my life.
oh,
Not because it had a ripple effect.
yeah,
I mean, you're my mom and I were pretty close. My mom was boy, so we had that, and then other things happened because she passed away, and it made my life a living hell for 10 years.
oh, yikes, yikes.
Mhm.
Mm.
So anyway, it happens.
It does
On that,
happen.
on that happy note,
Yeah, on that happy, we'll bring it to a close. Well, I guess let's leave it in a more positive side or a
please.
positive, and it doesn't have to be.
And again, no, let's roll. We got to dial it back to the entire reason we have this channel. And
Yes,
it sounds like we're not really doing any kind of therapy sessions. We're not, but we are.
yeah, for
What
sure.
we're showing is that keep an open mind for all kinds of different ideas, thoughts, beliefs, and realize that other people have their own experiences.
Right,
You
right.
are not privy to them.
Right.
Even if you were sitting next to them their entire life, their brain interpreted whatever was going on in a different way.
Right.
Period. You don't know what's going on in their head.
On a more
Most
positive
likely. Yeah.
spin on that also, or including that though, I do think that it's important that we do find those areas where they do overlap and we have had shared experiences.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we make our connections. I think that's where we make our friendships. I think that makes life in general more deeper, um, and more enjoyable and more positive if you can find those places where we do overlap. We do all have our own
Mhm.
experiences. We definitely overlap some of those experiences. And I think that's where connections are made. And I think that's where positive things can come out of it. Not that everything is negative, because I do want my time by myself. I do
Oh,
want,
yeah.
I do want my
Mhm.
singular experiences
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But
fun to
it's
have
important to be able
experiences.
to share those too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Wow.
Wow.
We've been all like,
Wow.
I don't even pick a separate topic. We've picked about 18 different topics to put in here. I don't know how the heck I'm going to edit this together or put a
Well,
time.
you're not gonna edit much of anything.
I guess not.
Don't.
Yeah.
I think this is it's raw. It's raw. It's good. I I gotta tell you, no matter who you are, no matter what you do, the most important thing in the whole world is that you share this video to somebody. I could not resist that.
that was a
Sorry.
that was a hell of a segue, but I love that slipping right into the shell section. You got me. Yeah, absolutely. Share this experience with somebody else.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
It was created and share it now. Share this with somebody else so that
yeah.
you can overlap with them.
And if you like our nonsense, subscribe.
Subscribe.
Like
That's
the video. If you
absolutely
don't
do all.
like the video, don't like it.
Don't
You
like
be
it. Share
you.
it with 8
You be
people.
you, dude. Bro.
Indeed. Who are you? You've been Brad
I have been Brad all this time.
all this time.
And you? Who are you?
No, see, I did that so you were Brad, so you're supposed
Yeah.
to say
I
you.
said, and you? And who are you?
See, I said you are Brad.
You are Michael.
That's what I was going for. Man, sometimes you just don't have the same experience. Sometimes the experience just you feed somebody and they send you right off a cliff. That's what happens.
Or I'm an idiot. I want to.
We've sure laughed a lot and talked about some serious subjects and stuff like that. It's great to be able to do that, and it's great to be able to share this with other people. And I should get out of here.
Yeah,
You
let's
should get
go.
out of here. All right.
Take
Thanks for
care.
watching.